Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a ridiculous interview that a Labour minister, the guy who's actually expected to replace Rachel Reeves when she eventually either cries off or gets packed off, right? A guy called Pat McFadden. And it is an absolute car crash where he's asked numerous times a very, very simple question. And that is, will you lower the amount of illegal immigrants coming in here in the next 12 months? And he does that thing that politicians do where, you ask them what's your favourite colour and they say 2 + 2 is 4. And do everything other than tell you what their favourite colour is. And it's a bit stupid. So I'm going to just play the video first and then we can discuss it. If you give me 1 wee second. Where did I put the video? Here it's here.
Embarrassing for you personally, the welfare bill fiasco, or the laughable claims that you would smash the gangs, that we're now more than 20,000 who've come this year and a 48% lift. Which is more humiliating for the government, would you say, Minister?
Look, when I look at these issues, Nick, what unites them, whether it's welfare reform, turning around the NHS, dealing with the small boats, we have got a number of big challenges facing the country, and
They're not meeting
we are going to have to. We are going to have to continue to work hard to meet them. The small boats is a tough issue. We've sent back 30,000 people who had no right to be in the country over the past year. Again, we are investing in the border force more to tackle these gangs.
But it's not working.
We are working closely with the French government. The numbers we are getting at the moment are not acceptable.
So will they be down this time next year? Will the numbers be down in a year's time?
We are going to have to work harder to bring the numbers down.
Will the numbers be down if we speak in a year's time?
Everyone in government knows this is a big challenge, and as a team we are determined to meet it.
Yes. If we have the opportunity to speak at this time next year, will the numbers be down on this year?
I'm sure you'll have the opportunity to ask me about that when I come on, Nick.
But will the number be down, Mr. McFadden?
Well, I'm not going to, make a prediction.
So that's 4 times I've asked, and you can't give me
Yes.
an assurance that the numbers will be down this time next year.
I can give you an assurance that the numbers at the moment are too high. We are working together to tackle
We
this.
don't know that they'll be there.
It's just an absolute car crash. I mean, you've already told us you're going to smash the boats. You've told us that you're doing a deal with France for a 1 in, 1 out. So you're doing all this stuff. And you're asked a simple question. Will the numbers come down? And you can't just say yes. That's quite a simple thing to say. But it's too difficult for these people. And it just beggars belief that you can't just say on national TV, yes, they will come down. So if you don't believe in your heart of hearts they're going to come down, you obviously don't believe Starmer's "I'm going to smash the gangs" nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm getting just fed up with this nonsense. And that's the sort of stuff, see if I can get voted into Holyrood next year, the Scottish elections. I will not stand for that sort of nonsense. I hate it when you sit First Minister's questions and watch it, or even Prime Minister's questions. They get asked quite a sensible question. And they do the sort of answers this crank's pulling, where they just go around the buildings and don't give you a straight answer. They've got to just be told, hold on a minute, the question's dead simple. There's no multiple choice. There's not, well, there's multiple choice. It's yes or no. There's 2, right? It's no, we're not looking to get a full resume of how difficult it is being government anytime you're asked a question. It's just very, very simple. Just yes or no. But they've been getting away with it for decades, probably longer than they've always got away with it. But they need to be made accountable. And I don't know if you've seen, there's a video I done this morning or yesterday for that much stuff on the go. It was last night. Video whereby the own government, Westminster government website has changed the section about job descriptions of an MP, what an MP does. And there's three things that it quoted up until the most recent version of it. And that is, they will be elected by the people, they will work on their behalf, and they'll work in their constituencies. All of that's disappeared on the new version of what does an MP do. And it is absolutely ridiculous that they're never accountable when they get asked questions, whether that's in the parliaments or by the media. And that guy Ferrari, he's one of the few that will actually just keep repeating the question. Most of them don't. Most of them just ask them one question and I'll ask them what the weather's like, and they'll be here talking to you about, I don't know, air conditioning or something, right? The very, very few journalists actually say, no, that's actually not what I'm asking you. This guy does. This guy does it relentlessly. He doesn't really care what party somebody is. He just does it with any of them. And fair play to him. There's a question here. Has you had a response to the change, Craig? Are you talking about the change to the website? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Alex, if you can give me a wee heads up. And good luck to Caroline. I don't know. All right, with you there, Paul. And we need more politicians to hold each other accountable, and we need the mainstream media to even hold them even more accountable, right? Just say, no, hold on a minute. See, if you're going to sit here and not answer the questions, I'm not going to have you on and give you time a day, right? That's kind of where we need to go. I'm sorry saying yes. I've not had a response because I've not asked anybody. I've not wrote to my MP, I've not wrote to Westminster. I'm kind of busy moving on with the next story, and I kind of know what the answer would be. Nothing. If anybody else wants to write and ask questions that you know the answer are going to be, then just let me know. But it's just like, this is, for the last 20 odd years, we've just had shots each between the Tories and Labour, and we've been in government, and every one of them over the last 20 odd years has told us that they're going to reduce immigration. We've all got on a manifesto that says that. The only difference is they've all went up, so there's no difference actually. But this Starmer government, they've told us quite categorically that we will kill the votes. We're going to smash the votes, right? The vote and get the gangs. Right, so they're actually been saying this now after the gang for a full year. And nothing. Yes, they have put out 30,000 people in 12 months out of, they reckon, 1 million that are here that shouldn't be here, that are illegal, that have overstayed their visas or failed asylum or all these things, right? So they keep pushing that up as if they go, oh, that's brilliant, right? But there's more come in the last 12 months than they've put out. So the figure just gets worse. So it's just absolute nonsense. And I'm getting fed up with it. But I'm going to try and do something about it, and at least make a difference in my own wee part of the United Kingdom if I can. But journalists have got to, we can't just have one Ferrari, right? We need to have every journalist doing what he's doing, where they go, here's a question, can you answer it? No, you can't. Well, I'm just going to ask you again and make you look absolutely stupid, right? And then if they do that, you'll probably get more Rachel Reeves crying in Parliament. That's kind of what will happen. But honest to God, I'm just going to play it one more time because I can't actually believe what this is. This is a guy that's a minister, right? And if Rachel Reeves gets parked out of post, this is a guy that they're suggesting will take over from her.
Embarrassing for you personally, the welfare bill fiasco, or the laughable claims that you would smash the gangs, that we're now more than 20,000 who've come this year and a 48% lift? Which is more humiliating for the government, would you say, Minister?
Look, when I look at these issues, Nick, what unites them, whether it's welfare reform, turning around the NHS, dealing with the small boats, We have got a number of big challenges facing the country, and
They're not meeting,
we are going to have
Mr. Minister.
we are going to have to continue to work hard to meet them. The small boats is a tough issue. We've sent back 30,000 people who had no right to be in the country over the past year. Again, we are investing in the border force more to tackle these gangs.
But it's not
We are
working.
working closely with the French government. The numbers we are getting at the moment are not acceptable.
So will they
We're
be
gonna have to
down this
work
time
harder.
next year? Will the numbers be down in a year's
We are
time?
going to have to work harder to bring the numbers down.
Will the numbers be down if we speak in a year's time?
Everyone in government knows this is a big challenge, and as a team we are determined to meet
Yes. If we have the opportunity to speak at this time next year, will the numbers be down on this year?
I'm sure you'll have the opportunity to ask me about that when I come on, Nick.
But will the number be down, Mr. McFadden?
Well, I'm not going to, make a prediction.
So that's
on
4
that.
times I've asked, and you can't give me an
Yes.
assurance that the numbers will be down this time next year.
I can give you an assurance that the numbers at the moment are too high. We are working together to tackle
We
this.
don't know that they'll be down.
Absolutely incredible, isn't it? If it wasn't so serious, it would be laughable, right? And it just does man nothing. Anyway, that's the sort of 10-minute moan part out the road. I'm going to go to questions now and have a wee look at the comments that we've got. Seems to be a lot of people watching on X, as many as there is on YouTube, but all the comments are from YouTube. So if you're watching on Twitter, get involved, please. Right, so let's go down the comments. Hey Craig, glad I've caught alive, but sadly to go to hospital. Well, I hope you're okay, Caroline. I hope your hospital appointment isn't serious, and I hope your everything's okay with you. What an absolute shambles the UK is. Yeah, tend to agree with that. Aldo, Tony Blair to start with should be held accountable what he's done. Kind of agree with that. Can I disagree with that? Are you related to Kenny McDowell? No, don't think so. Do I look like him? Is he a handsome looking guy like me? Craig, passing on his kind words, another awesome video. Keep up fantastic work and stay safe. Yeah, I'm kind of banking on doing both of them. I had to chortle the story that I was going to do a video on, but I'm going to leave it. As councillor, reform councillor, who got arrested, charged, and is due at court for an assault, apparently, at a Pride festival. Now, on an unconnected matter, I did see a video of something that happened at a Pride festival, and I'm not suggesting it's the same thing, but I looked like a woman who fitted the description of a reform councillor getting taken away. At the same time, there was a man dressed in a woman's dress with makeup on stage singing terribly, and at the side of the stage there was another female, I think all rainbow flags and all that, waving must have been about that size, dildo with male penis and scrotum attached, waving at this thing. It was meant to be a family friendly event, and she's due at court, wait here this, on the 8th of August, which is the same day I'm at court. So I hope we both get a result on the 8th of August. Robert Anderson, need politicians to represent the people rather than the party. Well, that was their job. It said that on the website up until yesterday, on Westminster's own website, that they had to represent their constituents. But that's been taken away. Also, the bit about we vote them in, that's been taken, we elect them, that's been taken off as well. So a bit weird. Revive. Craig, do you think that it is ever going to be possible to vote ourselves out of this situation? Yeah, it will be possible. Well, it is possible, but will it happen? I don't know. What it'll take is getting enough people who are normal people and not cranks, because we've got Holyrood and Westminster with quite a lot of cranks in them. Now, I'm not saying everybody that's an MP or an MSP is a crank, but far too many of them are. So what we need to get is we need to get people in that aren't cranks. That's kind of the most important thing. And then we can maybe sort stuff out, as opposed to, as somebody said earlier on, a talking shop. The only thing, I'm reading that one. Why did they give them reasonable houses, but but let them wreck them as they don't know how to maintain them. And as for housing officers, they are a waste of space. This government doesn't have a clue what's going on behind closed doors. Absolute bottins. Can I disagree with that? A Cumbrian Mackerel, there you go. They don't want to fix illegal immigration problems, and the questions we all need to ask is why. I've kind of covered this loads of times, Mackerel, and that is because it's an industry now. There's so many millionaires and billionaires getting made out of the immigration industry that, and then you've got to appreciate and consider that how many people that are getting made millionaires and billionaires out of this thing sponsor parties and sponsor individuals. There's your answer. I've said it, right? I can't accept that corruption is a bad word that doesn't exist in the UK anymore. So that's why it will not get fixed with these people. It doesn't matter whether they get a red rosette or a blue rosette or maybe even a light blue rosette. We need better people. The two parties who are managing the decline of the UK all going to plan for them, the explanation that have what's going on. Yeah. How many of the 30,000 took the money to go? Well, do you know what? I kind of don't have a problem with that, Robert, because if we work out how much it costs us to keep them here each year, and we gave them like even the equivalent to a full year, which I don't think it is, it's probably equivalent to half a year, to bugger off, then we save that money next year. So I kind of don't have a problem with that. I think that's no a bad way of doing it. Looking at how much they're costing, offer them half of that and say, take that and bugger off, and you've got 6 months to do it. This is what I would do. I would say you've got 6 months to do it, and if you don't do it and take the money and bugger off home, after 6 months, amnesty over, we're going to stick you in jail, or we're going to stick you in Ascension Islands, which is an SDP policy, and how we would deal with, immigration, illegal immigration. If you come here illegally or you want to claim asylum, not a problem if you just come and then claim asylum before you get here, because you can actually claim asylum before you get here. If you want to come and claim asylum at our doorstep, you want to come into the country illegally, ship you off to Ascension Islands and we'll process you from there, right? That would stop the boats. So you don't get put up in a nice hotel and get a job with Uber and a bike and driving lessons and free healthcare and eventually a house, not furnished, that we pay too much for. That'll not happen, right? So that's kind of where I am. Lost my way a wee bit here. We're all paid liars. Well, Theresa May signed the EU Migration Pact in secret. This is why we're accepting invaders. Well, no, it's not. We can just stop accepting and just rip up the Migration Pact. Create a new one. Do what you like. Has anyone tried to open a bank account? God grief, my 15-year-old son had proved beyond... I thought you were going to hospital. He was himself the youngest card. The young Scot card saved the day. Yeah, I have, and you need to show ID. And what other profession would you get away with not answering the straight question to those that pay your salary? Well, you wouldn't, Diane. And you wouldn't get paid as much to be unaccountable either. It's kind of what they do now. Oh, there's Yvonne reposting the stream. Thank you for that, Yvonne. I see Twitter is alive. There are plenty of people watching on Twitter, more now than watching on YouTube. But it's on YouTube. Questions I'm getting. They want to bankrupt the country. Kind of doing a good job of that. Hope you touch on these groups of men hanging outside shopping centres working for delivery companies when you get a chance, Craig. Aye, Mad Mag. I've already touched on it. I had a guy who popped up into a Twitter space one night who was a British guy, and he was an Uber driver, an Uber Eats delivery guy. It might not be Uber Eats, actually, it's the other one. Deliveroo or something, I think it might have been Deliveroo, actually. Anyway, he was chatting away and he was telling us he's got to work like almost 60, 70 hours a week just to try and get to where he was previously, earnings-wise with it, because all these people are coming in and cheating it. And he explained to us exactly how it works and exactly what to do, and one will get the licence, and then there's Facebook pages where you can buy for like 300 quid a week somebody's Uber Eats licence off you, Deliveroo, and you don't need to do all the stuff. And the person that's got it sells it 4 or 5 times, they split up the week and say you can have it for the 8 hours or whatever. And that's what they're doing. Absolute scandalous. Where can I see the UK in the next decade? Well, Aldo, that really depends. if the correct people win or the wrong people win. I'm not using right and left anymore. I kind of think that those notions are broke. And I remain hopeful. What I've seen in London, the amount of people down there taking to the streets to look for protection of your kids, gives me faith. And we just need to organise ourselves better, get the right people in power, positions of power in parliaments and councils and all these things, and get rid of the cranks. If we don't, then there's only two outcomes. And one is we'll be unrecognisable, or there'll be more like civil unrest, because people who get brandished far-right, fascist, racist, Islamophobes, when they have the same concerns. I've been up and down the UK in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Since the 13th of June, I've been to Ballymena, Glasgow, Edinburgh, London, Dover, Bedfordshire, Calais, and every British person I've spoke to has got the same fears. We've got shortage of housing. We've got too many migrants, unfettered migrants. We fear for the safety of our children. We fear for the safety of our females. We fear the rise in knife crime. There's a stat out, I'm going to do a video on it, that Britain is now the highest chances of RAPE crimes against you in the whole world. When you have all these concerns about these things, you're brandished far-right, fascist, racist, Islamophobic, all these things. And we kind of need to stop that. And if we don't stop that, what will happen is if people have got these concerns, the more they think they're not getting listened to, the pressure builds, the pressure builds, the pressure builds. And it will spark at some point. And that's not me trying to tell people to go out in the streets. I would love people to go out in the streets and protest. I don't want people to go out in the streets and riot and have violence. However, as we've seen in Ballymena when I was over there, that's kind of how it ends up. When people are constantly ignored, when they've got justifiable concerns. Where are we? The only thing they can do is smash records. I could agree with you, Craig. They're not smashing gangs, they're smashing records. There's a crime wave happening in Aberdeen. Everyone knows it. The cops are ignoring it. Yeah, well, the cops up in Aberdeen, James, if you remember, I think it was about this time last year, had a test period where they stopped investigating certain crimes unless the person who made the complaint could give them some evidence. It would just be like, we put it on a shelf up here, your complaint, your crime number, and if somebody comes in, let's say your shed get broke in your postcode, and if we get somebody else comes in a fortnight, get a shed broke in, but they've got some evidence that they can give us, then we'll maybe tie the two of them together. You know, if they've got a ring doorbell or something, there's somebody going in and breaking into their shed. And you think, well, is it not the cop's job to investigate crime? But now, that's not it. Just going to flick through here, see if I can catch up any. Oh, there's a question there. Things are going to get worse than we can imagine. This feels hopeless. Sorry, I know it's not a question. Yeah. Why is the SNP so useless? Because they're a one-trick pony. And they just want to blame everybody else. They said after the election, when they get down to 9 seats, oh, we're going to listen to people. They listen bugger all, right? They don't listen. And there you go. It's not just, I know the Welsh Assembly's the same, full of cranks. Paul, obviously from Northern Ireland, telling us Stormont, who are there, full of cranks. Holyrood, full of cranks. Westminster, full of cranks. So we need normal people. I'm doing it, and I don't expect everybody to be as daft as me and just say, hey, I'm going to go and try and get elected, right? I kind of understand that. But if you can find people in your own communities to go and support, to try and do what I'm doing and go out canvassing for them, spread the word for them, then we might get normal people. Bob, the steel worker for Sheffield, right? Billy, the boy for Grangemouth that used to work in the refinery. People like that. And I'm not saying all of that, right? But see if you've got a fair mix of society and you've got folk for the upper class, the middle class, the working class, folk that have been engineers, folk that have been in the legal profession, folk that have been in manufacturing, folk that have been in sales, folk that have been in customer service, and you get a better mix, then you're going to have a better mix of people representing us. So let's change the world.